Welcome back. So continuing this series I've been doing on teams that are below the playoff line in the West and what they may or may not do, I think with Winnipeg we need to look at it differently. So again, I'm viewing this all completely different with each team. I don't think there's a cookie cutter way to do this. Because with Winnipeg, this is a team that envisioned itself being in the playoffs. This is a team that was clearly built with the idea that, all right, we're gonna be in the playoffs this year. And so they were willing to forego future assets. So they have their own first round pick this year, but they don't have their own second. They have Columbus's third, not their own. They don't have a fourth round pick. They do have picks in rounds 5 through 7, which are of their own. And next year they don't have a second round pick. So they've been sacrificing picks to try to make things better currently, and that's where things get tough, is when you make those moves and you still find yourself 9 points behind Calgary, who are the number 2 wild card, 6 points behind Edmonton, 5 points behind San Jose. They have some games in hand on San Jose, but it shows for Winnipeg to really turn this around, there's multiple teams they need to pass, and they're almost double digits out of the playoffs right now. So if they're going to make a move, I think they have to make it sooner rather than later. Removing Paul Maurice from behind the bench, he did that on his own. There was some belief that maybe that would help turn things around. It really hasn't. So they're scoring 2.83 goals per game. They're allowing 2.95, so they're allowing more goals than they score overall. Their penalty kill really stands out at 74%. That is a major problem, and they need to improve that. Their points percentage currently at .512 is 20th in the National Hockey League. So all of the numbers say that basically Winnipeg's not good enough, and yet you look at this team, and they should be. Especially when you look at the forward group. So right now with the injuries, and there's a couple of guys who are injured on this side as well, but the injuries that are more of consequence, you've got first off Brian Little, who won't play again. We're pretty sure that he won't be playing again in the NHL, right? So that cap hit comes off. He's 34 years of age as well. Nick Ehlers, 25 years old, 34 games, 13 goals, 12 assists, 25 points. Ehlers is an excellent player. I do think that he likely wishes he had a few more points. Wishes he was in the lineup right now too. But he's not supposed to be out that much longer. And once you get Ehlers back, you're getting that dynamic scorer who can play a 200-foot game and is, one of the main reasons you'd want to buy tickets if you're a Jets fan. Then you have Logan Stanley, 23 years of age, 8 assists in 35 games. He has a better shot than the 0 goals would tell you. But yeah, for Stanley, it's mostly about the defensive side of things. I don't think goal scoring is anything they were counting on from him anyways. And he is one of the larger defensemen in the National Hockey League. Dylan DeMello, 28 years of age, 36 games, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points for DeMello. They do miss him when he's out, but keep in mind that 74% on the penalty kill, largely with these guys in the lineup. 34 games, 35-36. Then you have Dylan Sandberg, prospect who has played 6 games, 2 assists, 23 years of age. Nathan Beaulieu, who's a UFA this summer. He's 29 years of age, 19 games, 1 assist so far. Beaulieu likely ends up being let go by the Winnipeg Jets. But the question really comes in of, okay, so if they want to go for it, do they have space? At the deadline, they have $3,713,333, according to Cap Friendly. And so there's some space there. Do they want more? Maybe. But who's available and who's going to fix this? So when we look at their lineup, and I got these lines from Daily Faceoff. So I use Daily Faceoff for the lines. There's other sites I've used as well. Yes, lines often will change. This may not be 100% accurate to where they're at right now, but it is interesting to look at their depth chart. The forward group is excellent. I really believe that. You've got Kopp, 42 games, 12 goals, 16 assists, 28 points. He's a UFA this summer. How much is he worth and for how long? At 27, still in his prime, but getting closer to 30, and at 30, we know that those contracts can get long in the tooth quickly, can age badly. So there is some question about Kopp's value. How much are they willing to spend for him, and whether or not maybe you let him go, and maybe you can find somebody else on the market this summer, which has been a challenge for the Winnipeg Jets at times, being able to pick up UFAs. Mark Scheifele, 28 years of age, 36 games, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points. I don't think Scheifele's overly happy with the season he's had thus far. He's not scoring at his usual point per game, 10 goals in 36 games. I don't think he'll be overly happy with that either. So Scheifele, if he can really get his game going, that would go a long way to helping this team maybe make up some of that distance between themselves and the Flames. And then you have Blake Wheeler, who's a very divisive figure in and amongst hockey fans. The analytics crowd, not really a fan. He's 35 years old, 28 games, 2 goals, 18 assists, 28 points. I am fine with Wheeler being on this line because I think they can put together 3 scoring lines when everybody's healthy. So I think him being on line 1, I think it's semantics to argue about where he belongs in the lineup, because I think the top 3 lines should get not the same ice time, obviously, but similar, and especially the top 2 lines will likely get a lot of time. So Kyle Connor, 25 years of age, 42 games, 25 goals, 20 assists, 45 points. It's been arguably his best season, and if he ends up scoring, 50's possible. It's possible, but 40 would be excellent. I think he'd be happy with 40 or 45, and Connor's been the least of their concerns this year. Pierre Luc Dubois, much the same, 23 years of age. He's a restricted free agent, so likely going to be looking for a long-term deal. 42 games, 18 goals, 15 assists, 33 points. The points production's been a little bit uneven through the year, but that's standard with most players, and he's a good player. Looks like he's on pace for 30 goals, probably about 60 points, and I think he's going to get himself paid this summer. And then you have Cole Perfetti. Just the 12 games for him, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's 20 years of age. He has not looked out of place in the top 6 for Winnipeg. He has looked pretty darn solid. So when Ehlers comes back, that's going to bump probably Perfetti out of the top 6. I think you could put Perfetti on the 3rd line, and I don't think that's going to hurt the team in the slightest. Then on line 3, you've got Stastny. 31 games, 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 points. He is 36 years of age. He's a UFA this summer. So this is where the questions come up. If Winnipeg, at the deadline, looks at where they are in the standings, if they haven't made up any of that distance between themselves and the Flames or the Oilers, whoever they're chasing at that point, or the Ducks, do you move Stastny? Do you look at moving Kopp? And it's something that I wouldn't have even thought of, say, a year and a half, 2 years ago. But yeah, if Kopp, depending on what he's looking for, and I would think the Jets will sit down and talk to him about what the term and the money is he's looking at, or talk to his agent. But that's where things will get interesting, because you could get a pretty good haul for Andrew Kopp. You could probably get a half-decent haul as well for Stastny, who does have the 11 goals in 31 games. He's not scoring at the rate that he was, say, 5 or 6 years ago, but who is? So, yeah, Stastny could very well end up being on the move. It depends on whether or not they're sellers. And I don't know at this point that a full-on sell is necessary or possible. A lot of this core is still pretty young, or at the very least in their prime. Lowry, 42 games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. He provides you with an honest night's work every game. And now his dad's behind the bench as the head coach, so he really has to make sure he's putting in the work. Pagansky, 9 games, 25 years of age. He's a restricted free agent this summer. He's in there because you've got Ehlers on the injured list, and so I would think when Ehlers comes back, Pagansky probably drops out. Svechnikov is listed here as well as being an extra, but I know Svechnikov can go in when Pagansky comes out and whatnot. Harkins, I like Harkins. He's 24, 41 games, 4 goals, 3 assists. Restricted free agent this summer. Won't get a huge raise either. I don't think Harkins moves. Tony Nato might. He still has term. 37 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. And again, it's a matter of if Winnipeg decides to sell, do you see them moving a few forwards out? Do you see them maybe giving a shot at one of the younger kids to come in and say, you know what, we're not going to make the playoffs anyways, we might as well, clear this out and see what we've got in the minors? Be interesting to see what they do. Vesalainen, 22 years of age, 38 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. Restricted free agent this summer. Won't get a big raise. Doesn't have a lot of trade value either, so I would think they hold on to him through the trade deadline. And there might be some room to test Vesalainen. Again, if they're outside of the playoff picture, there might be room to test Vesalainen a little bit more as the year goes along and see really what that upside is. Because then you have to make decisions this summer about how you're going to get back into the playoffs. This is not a team that's going to need to do a rebuild. So at most, what you're looking at here is just a quick, trade a few guys out to get draft picks you don't currently have, and then look for next season and get back into the playoffs. The blue line's interesting. You have Dylan, 31 years of age, 39 games, 1 goal, 10 assists, 11 points. The blue line is going to be getting a lot of flack for the 74% penalty kill. They're also going to get flack for the goals against being a little bit higher than you might like. How much of that rests on this core, we'll see. You have Schmidt, 41 games, 2 goals, 18 assists, 20 points, and he's 30 years of age. Schmidt's had a nice bounce-back year. I don't think he ends up being moved. But again, we'll see, because it really depends on that playoff picture. Heinola, 4 games for him. He's 20 years of age. And the question becomes one of, when does Ville Heinola get an opportunity to play regularly in the Jets lineup? And if he's not going to get that opportunity, at what point do the Winnipeg Jets decide to move on from him, right? You don't want to end up in a situation where he doesn't have any value, but you don't want to end up in a situation either where you've made it so he doesn't have any value. Pionk, 39 games, 2 goals, 16 assists, 18 points. He's 26 years of age. I don't think Pionk's played as well this year as last year, but still serviceable as a top 4. You have Morrissey, who belongs at the top of this list, but again, I just went with the lineups that Daily Faceoff put up, because if I change one, then I've kind of got to go through and change others, and then it just becomes a mess. Morrissey, 39 games, 5 goals, 11 assists, 16 points. He's still only 26 years of age. So again, most of these pieces in the Winnipeg lineup, the core guys, are still young. Kovacevic, 24 years of age, just the 3 games, restricted free agent. Their blue line is where it is because you've got DeMello and Stanley currently showing up as longer-term injuries. And yeah, that's going to happen. Hellebuck, 28 years of age, 14, 15, and 6 record, 9-10 save percentage. It's interesting. I think with Hellebuck's numbers being down, you can argue that he's not having a Hellebuck-type season. You can also argue the blue line in front of him hasn't had the kind of season you'd like either. And it's probably, I'd say 60-40. I'd say 60 on the blue line, 40 on Hellebuck as well. Because when you look at Comrie's numbers, much smaller sample size. Plus, sometimes what people forget with the backup goaltenders is they're likely going to be playing against the lower-ranked teams. Your starter is going to play against the top teams, so the starter may end up with rougher numbers as a result. But Comrie, 26 years of age, 4-2-1 record, 920 save percentage. At the very least, when Comrie's healthy, he has shown himself this year to be capable of spelling Hellebuck. The other thing hurting Hellebuck's numbers, they played him, 13 starts in a row? There's a ridiculous number of starts in a row for Hellebuck. I think he started like 19 out of 21. It's a large number, and that will affect his ability to, go out there and play at the top of his game. They are, I think, overplaying Hellebuck. So it's something they may want to look at, and if they don't have faith in Comrie being, healthy throughout the rest of the year, and if they believe they can pull themselves into the hunt, maybe they go out and get another goaltender. Maybe. Because when Comrie was out, they did not put Berdine in there. It was pretty clear that Hellebuck was just going to be the guy until Comrie came back. And so we'll see if that's still the case. But after the All-Star break, this team needs to heat up. This team really needs to get it going. And it's interesting because, again, when you look at this lineup, it's not an old lineup. This is not a team that you can say, well, their best days are behind them. This was their last chance. The door's closing, whatever cliche you want to use. I think this is still a pretty decent team, and on paper, they should be better. I think that the blue line probably needs a little bit of work, and so we'll see what they do. So what do you think the Jets do at the deadline? What do you think they add? Do you think they need to go ahead and sell guys off that are pending UFAs? And what about Andrew Kopp? What's your opinion on Andrew Kopp? Is his value going to be enough at the deadline to entice the Jets to move him, or do you keep him and just sign him and hold on to him for a while longer? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.